What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to My Social Life. This is the podcast where we teach you how to grow on social media by talking to the people that have actually done it. My guest today is Nick Marengere. Nick is an entrepreneur and a digital marketer, and his main focus right now is his digital marketing company, LeapUX, but he has also founded multiple other businesses. But with LeapUX, he does a lot of SEO, web design, digital marketing, web consulting, content creation, lead generation, and more. Guys, he's a very, very driven entrepreneur. And in our conversation today, we talk about the importance of execution, not just strategizing and ideas, although that is very important, but execution is the most important, why it's the most important. We're also going to talk about why in 2018, 2019, you still need a website and what goes into creating a good website in 2018, 2019. And on top of that, we're going to talk about some tips and tricks for SEO so that your website can be seen. We're also going to talk about some of the clients that Nick has worked with, what makes a good client, what goes into maybe some struggles and difficulties he had with clients, and what he would do if he had the opportunity to go back and change some things when he was first starting his companies. And as always, we're going to talk about how he grew on social media, different tips and tricks that Nick has for growing on social media, what he did to grow his, how you can please the algorithm, what you need to do to please the algorithm. So enough of me here, guys. I just want to jump into this episode. Make sure if you're listening to screenshot this and post it to your Instagram story, tag at MySocialPod, and I will share it to our Instagram story, and I will give you guys a message. I just appreciate seeing who's listening. I would love to know the community that we're building here. So make sure you do that. And if you feel so inclined, please leave us a rating and review. It helps more people find the podcast. But anyways, without further ado, I present to you my conversation with, hey, this is Nick. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to My Social Life. This is the podcast where we teach you how to grow on social media by talking to the people that have actually done it. My guest today is Nick. I don't want to butcher your last name, Marengere?
Marengere, yeah. Marengere in French.
Oh, okay. Yep. And you're a digital marketer and entrepreneur.
Yes.
I want to let you tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I'm a web strategist by trade. So, I've been doing this for close to, 12 years now. A lot of experience in digital marketing, web development, digital transformation in a whole, like the semi-automation of business processes. Really working with organizations and helping them transform their business digitally to whether increase revenue or even save money on human resources, that kind of thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, but where I kind of want to start with this was with your personal website. So with that, is that a company or is that more freelance? Like, how would you describe
both? Hey, this is Nick.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, this is Nick.com is actually just a marketing strategy actually for LeapUX. So, we are pretty unique as a digital agency. We leverage the expertise of our employees and consultants both by creating these freelance style websites to essentially target employers that are looking to hire someone, and then in turn we just flip the script and explain to them the benefits of working with an agency.
That's awesome. Because I was going to ask, because I saw that you also were like a founder of LeapUX, right?
Yeah, so I'm co-founder of LeapUX.
So I was just trying to figure out how that worked with it being, you have that company and also freelance. And I was trying to figure out how that worked because it'd kind of be like, you're almost competing with yourself, but that's actually super smart. I've never even heard of that strategy before.
Yeah, it's pretty unique. So we do this, what we call implant. So basically if you wanted to hire someone, I would essentially contact you and see, first of all, if you're set up to be able to support a web developer or a digital marketer or whatever web resource you're able to or that you're trying to get. And then in turn, I would just, sort of pitch the opportunity to use one of our guys and then have us as a team to guarantee the success of this new contractor or employee. And we'll even help you actually build that team. Like we'll help you hire and stuff like that too. But a lot of people don't understand what it takes to actually run a web department within an organization. So they think they can just hire the digital marketer off the street at $60K and they're going to be self-sufficient. Well, it's quite unlikely. So.
Yeah. So where I wanted to originally start this was talk about some of the services that you had listed on the Hey, this is Nick.com. So it was SEO, web design and development, digital marketing, web consulting, content creation, lead generation, and more. Is there something you specialize in, or are you just kind of like a full service?
Yeah. So we actually, I consider myself a web strategist. So it's all about that ecosystem. So the full circle web strategy. So, I mean, getting in front of people and the targeting the user that is most likely to buy. So that's like the marketing strategy, and creating really awesome content, putting it in front of them, and then encouraging them to actually do something, which is typically visit my website on a recurring basis, because it's very unlikely that a user is actually going to click an ad. We're talking like single digit percentages. So you want to, market them on an ongoing basis. And then when they do search you out, I mean, I bet beers any day that they're not going to remember your domain name, or, and people don't just click on ads, especially in intrusive marketing, like on social media, where you put an ad up and you ask them to click the site. It's not typically how they work, right? You try to build brand resonance with them. And then what do? They turn to the search engine. Once they decide to make a buying commitment to you, they go, oh yeah, what was that digital marketing company that, hey, this is Nick. Okay, hey, this is Nick. So that's where the search engine strategy comes in, SEO, and then inviting them to your website, engaging them, building trust, building authority, and convincing them to do something again, which is, whether it's a lead gen, buy a product, sign up for your service. And then even we take it a step further to say, once you accept the user and convert them into a customer, how do you treat them? What is that welcoming experience? How do you fulfill on your products and services? And then how do you remarket them? Because we're talking like over 300% more likely to sell to an existing customer than finding a new customer.
Yeah, that's something I've heard before. It's cheaper to go after someone that's already bought than try and get somebody new.
Absolutely.
And then, so what's your typical client look like if someone's coming to you looking for digital marketing services?
Yeah, so I mean, man, we get everybody. We get the tradespeople that are looking to generate leads. We get the product people that are just trying to sell product. That's pretty easy. I mean, from a conversion standpoint, you can just correlate success to the amount of sales. But typically, we focus on more enterprise clients that are actually willing to pay for the strategy. So the UX strategy, the business analysis, the financial analysis, data analysis. What we specialize in, again, is that discovery phase web strategy. We basically create like a business plan for their web presence. We call this digital transformation, and we hand it over to them. And then hopefully they want to execute on the business plan with us, and then we work with them to actually put it into practice.
Yeah. So I want to talk about some of the bigger clients that you've had that I noticed that you had listed on your website.
Yeah.
You had I think it was the CFL, the NHL, the Blue Jays, Harley Davidson.
So those are projects that we're part of, whether I actually acquired them as a client myself, or I was part of, like, as a consultant, part on a project. St. John Ambulance, I think, is like a huge client. They're a not-for-profit. They're doing amazing things. I created their entire digital strategy and basically sold them on a huge project that we're in the process of executing on now. Sony, we did some Avid Gaming stuff. So back in the day, during like the affiliate marketing days, we did some stuff with them. Harley Davidson, these other companies, basically part of other projects. But yeah, I actually consider myself pretty blessed that I was able to work with clients like this, right? Not everybody can have the portfolio that I had, and I was just lucky to be like chosen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Can you give any like specific examples as to how time you landed one of the really big ones? If you can't, that's totally fine.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm the CEO of the company. I don't go by C-level titles. I consider myself marketing and sales of the company. I basically try to get money and funding and new client acquisition and that kind of stuff. So my success is, or the success of the company and the big clients we get is really through word of mouth, because we do B2B marketing strategies, right? Like we're targeting businesses, and again, the executives and the decision makers within organizations are not Googling web developers near me or digital marketers near me. So I leverage networking events. So I network with other agencies, other software developers. We have a program, we call it the co-op program, that we basically have a network of contractors that are employed that we offer them part-time contracts. So, I have some guys at Shopify, and I'll say like, hey, I got a Shopify contract. How many hours a week can you dedicate to this contract? And one guy will say, okay, I can do 2 hours a week. I can do 3 hours a week. I can do 1 hour a week. And I basically build these teams out to execute on the projects. And in turn, they become the subject matter expert and for a lot of these clients, and people come to them and say, hey, I got this website I need to build. And they go, yeah, we can totally do it. And then they turn to me because I'm the one facilitating all this. So basically, like word of mouth from a B2B standpoint has been like amazing for us. So even like the St. John Ambulance, like they're probably one of our biggest clients. Like at least they're the ones that like utilize us the most. And again, it was just someone recommended me to them. They jumped on a call and we met, and a week later I had a call with the CEO, and then a week later they had signed a contract. And yeah, so word of mouth is crazy when it comes to business marketing. At least if you do want to try to do some type of lead gen strategy, search engine is not the place to go. They're not searching this type of stuff, so we leverage social media. So LinkedIn, Facebook. You can actually target people based on their job titles and other very personal demographics that Google doesn't really track. Google's more locational and stuff like that. So,
yeah. Like running ads against, you can also run, I think, against specific companies too, right? Like people that have this certain role in a certain company.
Yeah. So you can run ads against certain companies. What Google does something similar where you can actually target people that have previously searched for another competitor or something like that. But yeah, we do a little bit of SEO and SEM, so paid search stuff. But social media is our number one, I guess, our marketing platform.
Also, one thing you did mention there was networking, though. So you go to networking events a lot.
Yeah, networking events a lot, and not just that, but even just giving people love and finding projects and sharing the work and sharing the the project in itself. And then if you know that there's a company that you always wanted to be a part of and you wanted to get to know the executives or whatever, well, find something that find a client that needs their services, make that introduction, and then sort of like be their subject matter expert for whatever you do, kind of thing. So in my case, it's strategy web, right? So like today I just met with a company called Macadamian, and they do mostly healthcare related data mining strategy around like product and stuff like that. And hopefully we can eventually work together too.
That's awesome. Do you have any networking tips? Because I feel like for a lot of people, networking can be a scary thing, like going up to a stranger and introducing yourself. Like, do you have any tips for that? Or
well, just be yourself. Like, if you're confident in what you do, just talk about that. I mean, you don't have to, be super successful. You don't have to be like the best of the best. Just what do you do? Like what is it you do? If you can talk to it, if this is truly what you do and you can talk to it, approach them and get to know them first and foremost, see what they do, and then tell them what you do, and then see where it goes from there. There's synergy, right, between certain people. And if there's no synergy, probably for a reason. Maybe they just don't need the type of things that you offer, and vice versa. Maybe you don't need the types of things that they offer. But I think it's just about just representing yourself and talking about what you do and not trying to fake it or be something else. Really being genuine.
Yeah. And I know this podcast, the premise is mainly social media, but I also want to talk about websites, like almost in the terms of like not necessarily becoming an influencer, but having a personal brand. Yeah. How important is having a website in 2018, 2019?
Absolutely. Very important. Doesn't matter what you're doing. I'll tell you what. Social media, and this, man, I try to communicate this with my clients a lot. Social media, so these platforms like Instagram and Facebook, they are marketing platforms. You need to have something behind it. You should have something behind it because they're like a brand awareness tool. But you want to ask the consumer or the viewer, or however you position, you want to ask them to do something. So, whether it's to visit your website or to buy a product right through it or to give you a call or to do something, right? From a personal brand perspective, you want to build resonance. Again, oversaturated marketplace. Tons of people doing what you do, tons of people doing what I do. How do you separate yourself from the rest? How does someone look at your logo or look at your pictures or look at your feed and go, oh yeah, that's that guy. I seen him before. I've heard about him before, or whatever. It's about just being memorable.
And then, so if I'm like someone new and I'm just starting out like with social media or whatever and trying to get awareness and I need to build my website, what would your advice be to someone that's kind of starting out a little bit, not necessarily broke, but funds are limited? Like, what would your advice be to getting a website built?
Iterative releases. So I had actually a guy come and ask me that recently. He said, I'm planning on getting this website up. He had no money or whatever. He wanted to get a website up. And I said, you know what? Write down what you can build in a week. Write it down. Like, you have all these ideas in the world, and the worst thing is to sit on an idea for months and months at a time and not execute. Execution is everything. So figure out what you can build in a week and get it up there, and then start promoting it right away. Get it to market, right? And then iteratively improve it as time goes on. So the first thing is first, whatever platform is the cheapest or whatever you want to do, whether it's WordPress or Wix or a GoDaddy website builder, like, get something up. It'll be crap when you first get it up, especially if you don't have experience and you don't have money to hire a web developer or a web designer. Get it up there, promote it. You'll get feedback. You'll collect data. Data is everything when it comes to anything online. How do you know how to improve and where to improve? And then just iteratively improve it, and eventually maybe you'll make some coin on it and you'll be able to pay a true designer or something, or even a consultant, just to like give you some feedback and guide you on your web development design process. Now,
I did this question. I don't know how easy this is to answer, but what makes a good website in 2018, 2019?
I have, like, first and foremost, you build for small screens. Build for small screens and then reverse engineer it for bigger screens. You can fit a lot on a big screen, but small screen's really important. If your website looks good on a computer and then you go on a mobile device and there's things that look okay, it should look amazing on a mobile device and good on a big screen. You can make it look good. That's the first thing. The second thing, search engine compatibility. Make sure that you're accommodating Google's web standards, the biggest search engine. And then most other search engines follow suit. They follow Google's web standards because, again, oversaturated market, lots of people doing it, lots of websites out there. Very rare that someone's going to actually type in a domain name anymore. They go straight to Google. And matter of fact, actually, Android's browser is a Google search when you open up, right? So be search engine compatible.
And so with search engine compatibility, I know on your Hey This Is Nick.com, am I getting that right?
Hey This Is Nick.com, yeah.
Yeah. I think out of all the skills that you list on there, the only one that you have the learn more option for is SEO.
Yep.
Would you say that's like your best skill? Would you say, like, out of everything, like, that's the one you're most confident in? Or?
It's the easiest thing for me to sell. So it's kind of like you got to interject. Again, I'm doing B2B, right? So you got to interject businesses at different processes, right? At different, points within their journey. So SEO is typically like the first thing people do after they build a website. We're not really like a startup company. We don't deal much with startups. We happily accept startups as new clients, but startups are very limited in funding usually, right? So typically I try to target clients that have some sort of experience, or if they are a startup, they've already understood the failures and they're ready to invest into their web presence, because the worst thing is to get a guy that's never done it, try to dictate what you do, and also not have the capital to be able to fund it.
So what are some things that when you're sitting down with a potential client where you're just like, it's just not registering here, like they don't get what we're trying to do? Like, what are some things that you've seen?
Oh man, I see it all the time actually. So, I get a client that tries to dictate how their website should be or how their marketing should be despite our professional expertise. And I mean, they're the client. So in the end, you got to sort of like adhere to that. But I do two things before I guess accept and just adhere to what they want. First and foremost, depending on what they do. So in your case, as an example, I would say, you know what? I'm going to tell you how to dictate how to podcast. I'm going to show you how to use your software. I'm going to actually give you some tips. And they usually get super defensive and are like, well, no, have you ever done a podcast before? Have you ever recorded anyone before? And I'll go, no, but I'm going to tell you how to do it though. And then it's sort of, then they're like, okay. And then you say, well, you know, you shouldn't tell me how to build a website or how to market. I'm consulting you. But if you want me to do what you want to do, I will happily do it. And then I've even gone as far as making them sign a contract to say that I am not responsible for the success of this website. The thing is, web design, like building a website for a client, is not my moneymaker. I'm not in the business. Like, I build websites, but that's not what I want to do. I want a recurring business. I want a relationship with these people. I want to do their marketing and have them signed with me over years and years and years. I want to help them achieve their goals, right? So if the first step in our business relationship is building a website, and right off the bat they go against what I'm proposing, how am I going to be confident if it's success? And I don't want to be held responsible for that, right? So I try to consult them on best practices and everything in hopes that it is successful, so that I can continue working with them.
Yeah, that's fair. So like with SEO, do you have any like tips for people, like some just beginning tips for SEO when you're building a website? Like, in terms of my digital marketing knowledge, I'm lacking on the website. Yeah. So SEO is something I'm not 100% familiar with. So do you have any tips?
For sure. So, well, I mean, there's code stuff that you can look at. So look at like the standards for coding, like only 1H1, you know, the basic stuff. I think that's the first thing you should be looking at. And secondly, I mean, SEO is all about user journey. So Google has a lot of metrics to determine which website they vouch for a search term, right? And they look at like how much time a user spends on a site. Did they actually convert? Is it measured through analytics and stuff? So you want to create amazing user journeys. So, you know, there's all these tips and tricks out there. If your code is set up well and you have an amazing user experience on your website, you're probably going to kill it. There's a lot of other things that you can do, but focus on like making sure that your code, like the actual back end of your website, is adheres to Google standards. I mean, you can Google that real quick and say, how do I SEO my website? And it'll tell you every step, and make sure you follow that, because it's a robot. It's just a robot that's evaluating your website. So you need to, so that robot just has a bunch of check boxes on an algorithm that says, oh, yes, 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 no, yes, yes, no, you know? And the more yeses you get, well, that, you know, increases your score. And then make sure you have amazing user experiences. Look at your analytics and see what your bounce rates are. And if if there's two of you and your competitor, and traffic is coming to you and staying on your website and actually converting more than your competitor, who do you think they're going to vouch for, right? Mm-hmm. So
that's fair. And so you also do social media stuff as well. Yeah. So what kind of social media services do you offer for clients?
Yeah, so a lot of social media advertising. So paying for social media ads through business.facebook.com, LinkedIn, Instagram runs through business.facebook.com as well. And then we do like the occasional social media management, which is more like a content creation service. So creating content and getting it out there, and then reporting back on its performance and optimizing and making sure. You know, there's key differences between the two. So when you're talking social media, like advertising marketing, that paid advertising strategy, that is for new clients. That's a marketing acquisition strategy. The social media management is more of an engagement strategy. So yeah, you'll increase your following slowly, maybe through referrals, but it's really to keep your existing customers engaged, because you do all this other stuff. And if you consider the average conversion rate of a website is like 1% to 2%, there's way more customers that aren't converting. So what strategies do you have in place to keep them around, continuously feed them content, so that when they do have a need for whatever you're offering, you come first to mind? Because they're like, oh yeah, what's that guy that I always see on my social media feed that I decided to follow like a couple months ago? I wasn't ready to buy at that time, but
yeah. So in terms of like a personal brand, and like not necessarily you don't have a company, but you're trying to build, whether it be like your Instagram or something, where's the value in running Facebook and Instagram ads with that? Like if you're trying to grow your following.
Right. Well, there's options to follow you as part of the advertising thing. But again, it depends. So it depends what you want to do with your following. Like, I think a challenge that a lot of my clients have and a lot of people that I see have is they don't have really a goal in mind for their social media. They say, oh, I want to gain followers. But I think it's like, what do you want to do with your followers? Because I've seen really successful social media marketing guys with like 10,000 followers and they're making bank. If you got to consider, especially the product guys, at a 1% conversion rate, 10,000 followers, 100 customers. If your product costs $100, that's $10,000 at 10,000 followers. So imagine what 100,000. So I mean, it really depends on what you're trying to do. But you know, I think from a advertising standpoint, it doesn't necessarily influence your social media following unless you're directly asking them to follow your social media. I would put more money in advertising to buy a product, visit your website, get off the platform.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any tips for when you're running ads? Like I know, I'm sure there's so much that goes into running Facebook and Instagram ads, but anything that jumps off the page?
Change your content every 2 weeks to a month. Update your content. It gets stale. Mm-hmm. I see the same ads like for other companies, and they're the same ads for months and months on end. And then I literally click the 3 dots and I say like, don't show me this ad again. I've seen it too many times. Boring. Change your ads up.
Mm-hmm. Is there any content that, like, what type of content that gets people's attention that you've noticed? Yeah. Whether that be like static images or video.
So, I mean, I think it's more about the quality of the content. Really high quality photos for your products and services or whatever. I think they do a lot better than like some of the other ads that I see. That's one thing. Video is crazy good. I mean, it's we're talking like the fundamentals of advertising, like movement in ads. Like this is something that we learn. It's like marketing 101, right? That does really well. Also, you don't have to read, which is great. Adhere to the the platform's requirements. So if it's on Instagram, you know, follow their requirements. Make sure you hit those hashtags and their text characters and stuff like that. And the same for Facebook, same for LinkedIn and wherever else.
Yeah, that's fair. And so you said marketing 101. So did you go to school for any of this?
Yeah. So interestingly enough, I did. Well, I went to school for business.
Okay.
And then graduated in business. Never had a focus in marketing, but I just understand it. I don't know. I started my first company when I was 19 years old. It was an affiliate marketing company. Was really successful. I just think I just got it as like I just understood the consumer, and I really think hard about how consumers digest content and how they interact with brands and companies. I've just always had that perspective on business, so I think that's just how it worked out. But then obviously studying business, you take your marketing courses and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you started your first business before you even went to school, then, or kind of as you were in school?
Yeah, I was actually. I think I dropped out of Cégep.
Okay.
At the time, and I'm just trying to like put my days together, but I was about 18, 19 years old. It was when affiliate marketing was like a big thing, and we created a fitness blog / website, and we were selling supplements, fitness related products, and we made it profitable. We made some good coin on it, but then we got bored, so we sold it, and then I went back to school.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and then your company now is LeapUX. Was that the company you started after?
So LeapUX I started, so it was actually a spin-off of this company. So the same business partner that I had there, we kind of like just ended up, people asked us, how do we do it? That's how it started. How did you do it? And we said, well, we did this and that. Can you do it for us? And then we started doing it small business stuff and part-time. And then it eventually just evolved into the beast that it is, and being able to support myself as an entrepreneur, self-employed, not have a job, not be employed by anyone.
Yeah. And so you have 2 other businesses as well.
Yeah. So, technically now I only have one actually. So,
okay.
So Carbon Oak, I co-founded that with my business partner, Jason. I just sold it actually in September of this year. It's a luxury car dealership, super successful. It was really, really fun, but just didn't fit my portfolio as a brick and mortar. I'm a digital guy. It was a lot of stress. So I ended up selling my shares, and they're really good. Like I said, I sold to a buddy of mine. He's way more of an expert in the automotive industry. But Carbon Oak sort of funded the ultimate business, which was Flipped.ca. Flipped.ca is it's a lead gen and conversion optimization company. So we do lead gen and conversion optimization tools for franchise dealerships.
Okay.
So if you go into a dealership, maybe you'll see like a kiosk there in the service center, and we ask for your information about your car, and we provide a trade-in value.
Oh, cool.
And then we also have an auction that allows consumers to find which dealer in their area is willing to pay the most for their trade. So the equivalent would be, a guy or a girl going from dealer to dealer to dealer to figure out which person is going to pay the most for their trade-in and doing business with them. Because as we know, or maybe not, but a new car from dealer to dealer is generally the same price. MSRP is like set at like the manufacturer. Maybe you get a set of winter tires at one place over another. Maybe they have a little promotion, but your trade-in value of your car significantly changes from dealer to dealer. So depending on if you have success at auction or, maybe you have a network of manufacturers that your car is part of. So we do that. And then, so I did that for a few years, try to get it off the ground slowly but surely. It's like my retirement plan. But LeapUX is really where my focus is.
Yeah. But so that your other two are both car companies. Is cars another passion of yours, or is that just a coincidence they were the same?
I guess it's just the way life was done. I don't really care about cars all that much. I like them more like the next guy. I've had the opportunity to drive around like Aston Martins and R8s and stuff like that. But it doesn't really doesn't turn me on all that much. Never was huge into cars. It's sort of just I had again Jason, my business partner. He approached me with this business idea. And I bought into it. So I invested a lot of time, and we're trying to get it off the ground, and it's doing pretty well. So on the dealership side, it's called Live Trade. Mm-hmm. Live Trade is the dealership side. Those are all the tools, and then Flipped.ca is the consumer side.
Okay. Yeah. Was there ever a business that you started that didn't work, or have they all been pretty much home runs?
Yeah, I've been lucky.
Yeah.
So I've started exploring businesses that I've quickly realized it's not going to work. But yeah, I've only really invested into these three, and they all worked.
Mm-hmm. So looking back, is there anything you would have done differently with your companies, like that maybe it would have made things easier?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe execution is everything. Less planning sometimes. I'm a strategist, so it's really going against what I stand for, like the whole data analysis and planning and everything like that. But sometimes you just got to execute. You got to get it out to market, because otherwise your competition is going to come in and make it a lot harder for you to acquire new clients, right? So getting to market would probably be something that I would have liked to have done a lot quicker. Yeah, and then the second thing I would say would be, especially for LeapUX, turning down business, being able to walk away and be like, you know what, this doesn't fit us. We wasted a lot of time trying to figure things out or working with clients that just the synergy wasn't there, and it just wasn't a right fit, and we knew it from the beginning, but we decided to make a couple of bucks and then ended up like not doing as well as we could have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah.
So how long did you go when you had the three businesses on the go at one time?
4 years.
4 years. And how did you balance
My life?
Yeah.
Very poorly. I was single for a long time. Now I have a wonderful girlfriend. We have a child together. Awesome. And he's my stepchild actually. But things have worked out either way. But yeah, man, not a lot of sleep, not a lot of free time. I was single. It was tough. But I'm at the point in my life where I'm like, man, hustle hard now reap the benefits later. And because I have like I'm 30, so today's my birthday actually.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thanks. So I'm 33 years old. And you know, I hustled hard young, and now I'm finally like reaping the benefits. I'm finally like getting my shit together. So it's working out. So yeah, it was tough.
Yeah. But on top of balancing all three of those businesses, you also have your Instagram account.
Yep.
Which has, I think, 11.1 thousand.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So what would you say is the purpose of your Instagram?
It's really to obviously generate new leads, try to find some new clients, but it's really to also, you know, build these informal relationships with people throughout Ottawa and surrounding areas, so that they get to know me and what I do. I get a lot of referrals. You know, they'll be at their Christmas function or whatever, and someone will say, hey, I'm looking to build a website. And it's funny thing about social media is they almost become your friends, eh? Like, I've never spoken to them, but they almost feel like they build like a relationship because they see my updates every day and everything like that. So they, you know, someone will say, you know, I need a website built, or I need some marketing services done. They'll be like, oh, I know a guy actually, this guy on my Instagram, his name is Nick, you should check him out. Let me tag you in one of his posts, or let me send you his email or whatever, because I publish everything, all my contact information. So that's my main purpose.
Yeah. So do you get a lot of business referrals through Instagram? Like, does that happen often?
Yeah, not a lot, but a fair amount. Like, it does. Like, I'm happy with it. That's why I keep it going. You know, I would say that most of my audience is local. So, and I got a lot of businesses that follow me, and I, you know, shout out to all these businesses that follow me. I try to show some love back. I like all their stuff. I even shout out some of them on my stories and stuff like that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So another thing in because I think your bio is entrepreneur, and then travel, and then influencer.
Yeah.
I think those are three. So do you travel often?
Travel a lot. Travel a lot. So I'm a workaholic. So I work like, you know, 12, 14, 16-hour days. And it takes a toll on you. So what I try to do is I try to, like, at least like 2-3 times a year, take like a good 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off, and just peace out. I backpack travel. That's what I do. So it's a complete opposite of my life. I'm very like organized when it comes to like my regular life. Like like my meetings, I use Outlook a lot. I use Evernote. Everything's super organized. So when I travel, I do the complete opposite, where I just book a flight and that's it. I don't even know where I'm staying. I just literally land somewhere, potentially rent a car, and just drive, man. Just try to like unwind, change my behaviors a little bit, and like, you know, just maybe some peace of mind.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have any crazy travel stories from just landing with no like plan in mind? And
oh man, I went to Costa Rica actually with my girlfriend, and we landed, rented a car, and then we're trying to get to this town called Montezuma. And there's a route, it's like a 6-hour route through the highway, but there's a 3-hour route through the jungle. And I was like, yeah, let's take this 3-hour route through the jungle. And we everything was going well and everything like that. And then we get to a road that was washed out by a river. And so I'm like, okay, like, let me go see how deep this river is, right? We got this SUV. And so I walk into the river, and you got to consider in Costa Rica, it's like croc infested and stuff. Like, there's like some dangerous animals out there, right? So I'm like, you know, just looking around, making sure everything's cool. I walk into the river, and the water is only really up until like above my knee. So I'm like, oh man, I'm like, you know what? Like, I know cars, like I'm in an SUV. I'm like, I can make it through. What I didn't know was actually the river like sort of crushed, and this part on the backside was actually up where it needed to be, and where I was walking was actually down. So there was basically created this wall, this cement wall. So I floor the SUV, I try to like get some speed to like make it through so I don't get stuck, and I bang hit the cement wall. Water's rushing in through this river through the car. It's like up to like our feet. I'm like, oh my God. So I get out, I realize there's this wall, I'm trying to push it out. We're like screaming and yelling, like trying to like, you know, and then this guy just comes out of the jungle out of nowhere, doesn't even speak English, and he just starts helping me push out the car. Luckily, we're able to push it out, and we push it out, and we see all the water just flush out. And the guy was just like drive up the bank because it's shallow over there, even though it's not a road. Just drive along the bank and then cross there and then drive back on the bank and then get back on the road. That was pretty crazy, man.
That's nuts.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Holy.
In the middle of the jungle, and I don't even know where this guy came from, but
yeah,
just pretty cool.
That's wild, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. So where would your favorite destination be that you've gone to?
Man, Costa Rica is pretty awesome. I'm actually going back there in February, but Vietnam.
Really?
Vietnam was really cool. It was a really unique trip. So my girlfriend's Vietnamese, and going to Vietnam, it was very unique trip. I spent the whole time with her family, so it wasn't really tourism. It was really local, staying in these small towns with their family, bouncing around from family to family. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Vietnamese food's amazing, and the plum wine and the beer. There's a huge beer culture there too.
Oh,
they
really?
do microbreweries and stuff like that. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Is there ever a thought to do like remote work and travel and do work at the same time?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Yeah, I would love to. That would be my dream, would be to eventually be able to like step away, have everything operationally set up here so that my team can do what they do. And then, just work on a beach somewhere for like 4 or 5 months or something,
Yeah. Do you think you're close to that being a possibility or still a little ways away?
We're getting there. I think a few more years. A few more years, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't hustled hard enough yet. Even though I have hustled quite hard, I think there's some more opportunity to continue doing what I do and making sure that I'm set up financially, making sure that my family's set up financially, and that my team can operate without me, basically.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. And then when you're traveling too, you get a lot of content for your Instagram?
Yeah, a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As you can probably tell, right? Through my Instagram, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So how, like when you're traveling, is it just cell phone? Like how are you getting content?
No, I have a Nikon D3500 or something like that. I bought it at Costco, just a nice camera. I actually bought it because for like headshots for about pages and stuff like that. But no, I have a decent camera, and then I use Adobe's Lightroom to like bring out some colors and stuff if it doesn't look good. A lot of them are just like pure, just got like an amazing shot. The sun was just perfect and everything like that. I'm not a photographer at all. I got a nice camera, and if I could use a little editing, I use Lightroom. Yeah.
That's awesome. So do you plan your content when you're on the road? Like, hey, I want to get a shot of like me on a beach and I want to get a shot of the sunset, or is it just kind of in the moment?
Man, I know what I love. I love beaches. I love the sun. I love surfing. Nature. So it's not even planned. I just take the right shots. I just take things and then I think what I like, I just post. Yeah.
That's fair. And then when you're home, when you get content, do you plan it? Like, do you do any content planning, or is it just a lot of?
So, we'll do like our photo shoot sometimes. Friends also by chance have nice cameras and they'll take pictures that I'll use as well. And, but yeah, you know what? My social media is just I'm just pretty genuine. I don't really do anything extraordinary. I just kind of it's like my life, right? And again, that's how I find it's a lot easier to market yourself than it is to market a company, because people want to build a relationship with people. That's why you see like most brands use people to advertise their brand, because people want to, have some sort of like relationship with it, right? And you're not going to have a relationship with an object. You have a relationship with people. So I think people just like seeing what I do, man. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
When did your Instagram start to grow? Like, when did you really notice it pop off?
Yeah, so I'm a late bloomer. So I I started it with a purpose. I didn't have Instagram. I started it to promote business, and that was and I think I started it maybe about 3 years ago. And but I really started popping off probably about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, where I was like, okay, I'm starting to see some interest and movement. And you got to consider Instagram is just a piece of software, right? So it's designed to promote certain people depending on where you're at and what you do and how you interact with the software, right? So it was really slow, and then just started picking up faster and faster. Then because it picked up faster and faster, it motivated me to keep nurturing it. And then as a software guy, I know exactly what buttons to press to build my following.
So what did you do that helped grow your following? You don't want to give away all your secrets. You don't have to, but even
No,
just
I don't
like,
mind. I have no secrets. So again, it's a piece of software. It's an application. It was developed by developers that spent like tens and hundreds and maybe millions of dollars to develop this software. Every single function within the software serves a purpose. And what makes one Instagram account better than the other, it's not like a human being looking at it and going, oh, I like this guy, let's promote him to all of his friends, let's put him at the top of the feed. This is why Instagram will never put their feed in chronological order. You'll see like posts from like 3 days ago, and what it is because the robot wants you to use the software as designed. So you need to interact with it, and it's all about algorithms and stuff like this, right? So if they have a chat functionality, you best be using the chat functionality, the follow functionality, the unfollow functionality, the tagging, the hashtagging, the liking, the unliking, the unfollowing, the commenting, the DMs, stories, tagging in stories. You got to look at it. Every single piece of functionality that was created for a reason. And if you can check off the boxes similar to that SEO robot for everything, you're just going to adhere to what the web developers designed it for, and they're going to put you at the top of your friend's feed or get you on that search page, right? The magnifying glass page. So.
Yeah, that's fair. And you mentioned one thing like following and unfollowing. Is that a thing that you've done in the past where it's like you followed a bunch of people and unfollowed just to kind of adhere to the...
So I'm not one to like follow and unfollow people. It's not my strategy, but I do follow people, and the only time you really get unfollowed if I just think that I just don't want to see you. Yeah. Because I get a lot of like negative people just by virtue of having that many followers. I get a lot of like, and so it just sort of worked out. But anybody that's like super cool and like legit, I stay following them. I'm following you. I'm pretty sure. Of course. Yeah. So yeah. However, mistakes happen. It happens that like I'll unfollow the wrong people. I've had someone be like, hey, you unfollowed me. I'd be like, really? Totally didn't mean to unfollow you. Oops. Yeah. And then I want to talk about engagement rate. I think yours is just over 3%. That's about that. Yeah.
Which I think that's about the average engagement. Is there a plan to try and get that a little bit higher, or are you not really too concerned about engagement rate? Or
yeah, I'm not. I am concerned about engagement rate, but my stories have the most engagement. Okay. And that's where I do most of my promotion. If you see, like after you hit 10,000 followers, you can get the click through, right? Swipe up to visit the website. So that's where I do most of my stuff. So like a story will get like near like 2,000 views. So that's where I put my focus on. I have been working on increasing my engagement rate, but I don't stress too much about it. It'll come. I get some posts that have like 1,000 likes, and then I get some posts that have like 150, 200 likes. I don't really care about that stuff. You know what I mean? If people like it, they like it. If they don't, it is what it is, But
yeah. So if you woke up tomorrow and you checked your Instagram and all of your photos were gone and all of your followers were gone, what would you start doing tomorrow to grow it back?
The same thing that I do now. I'd continue posting and using the software as designed.
So when you do post, is there like a specific strategy behind it, like a time of day or day of the week that you kind of aim for?
Yeah. So yeah, you definitely, so you want to get a business account to be able to like measure your performance. But Wednesdays and Sundays are my biggest days.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy, eh? Wednesdays and Sundays, typically late afternoon, evening are my days. But again, I don't worry about that stuff too much. Like it's pretty, I don't have time for that. I just, however I feel. I think being genuine is the key here, right? You don't want to overpost either, because you want to give people a chance to view your content. And if you have something new that came out before, something that was really important before, it'll sort of like, prevent your audience from giving enough attention to the stuff that matters. But I don't.
But what would you consider over posting? Like what's too much, do you think?
Yeah, well, it depends on I guess on your stats. But for me, I'm like max 3 times a week. I typically do about twice a week.
Okay.
Yeah, I use Hootsuite, by the way.
Hootsuite.
Yeah,
Okay.
I use Hootsuite for planning my posts. As an entrepreneur, I don't have time to do ad hoc stuff, so I sort of like just plan for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And everything is just done automatic. So I'll like take like 2 hours, an hour, 2 hours of the day, sit there, plan all my posts and everything like that, do my research for my hashtags, and then set it up on Hootsuite just as a calendar. You got like 30 or 40 posts for free, and then anything above and beyond that you pay, and it's really cheap. My firm is actually Hootsuite certified as well, so we use Hootsuite for our clients as well.
Yeah.
So.
Can you schedule on Instagram as well? Because I know there was a time where they really didn't like third-party websites and apps kind of getting involved.
Yeah, so they discontinued some functionality, like the chat functionality. You can't do that anymore. But yeah, you can schedule Instagram posts.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm using it still.
Yeah. Are there any other apps or website that you use with your content or with feedback or anything? Like an example is like UNUM is one that
ENUM.
UNUM is where people, it's like when they have like a specific aesthetic, they can like drop pictures into like a grid so they can see what their account would look like beforehand. That's just an example that I've got in the past. But
no, that's it. I Google hashtags related to this, and then get the stats, and then try them out. And if they don't work out, well, then I try something different next time. Yeah, a lot of A/B testing, I guess you can say.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to talk about other social media now as well. I think the only other social media you had was Facebook.
Yeah.
You had a Facebook page.
Yeah, I have a LinkedIn page too.
Oh, LinkedIn. That's fair. What's your strategy with Facebook? None?
I use Facebook for paid advertising, but basically whatever goes on Instagram goes on Facebook. My following is not too strong. I don't interact. I don't really log into Facebook too much.
Yeah.
I don't have time, and Instagram is really quick and easy.
Do you invest more time into your LinkedIn?
Yeah, but different strategy, more chatting. I do a lot of like messaging with other industry professionals and stuff like that.
But not much like of a content play on LinkedIn?
Not much of a content play.
No?
No, not really.
Is there a plan to ever do YouTube at some point?
I would love to, but I would rather just pay someone to do it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
When you say like pay someone, do you mean like do
a content marketer, content person to like do some video marketing on YouTube for us? That's probably as far as I'd go. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever watch Gary Vaynerchuk?
Yeah.
So were you talking almost like a D-Rock situation where they'd follow you around and like they'd produce content for you that way and push it?
No, I know.
No.
So to be honest, I'm not really like, it's not in my nature to be front and center. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm pretty low key. I would rather just work on my business and reap the benefits. I mean, if there was like some sort of like financial benefit to like run a campaign with my face on it, I would do that. But no, I would think more like from a content marketing on YouTube standpoint. I think it would be more like, I don't know. Maybe I would have my team do like how-tos, maybe some videos on like, top 10 ways to SEO your site, that kind of stuff, but no plans in like the near future to do it.
Yeah. Do you do any work with YouTube pre-roll ads?
Like paying for ads on YouTube? Yeah. So we use just the like Google search platform to do some YouTube once in a while, but nothing huge.
Yeah. And you don't do anything on Twitter either, I don't think? No. Do you do any like advertising on Twitter with Twitter Business or nothing at all?
No.
Is there a reason why, or just focus on what you're good at and roll with Instagram? Or?
Yeah, I bite off what I can chew. Also, Twitter is like not widely used anymore as much as you think, right? Especially in Canada. Like it's not a huge platform. It's very political, very like news oriented. I don't know. Maybe I'm being naive in saying that like my target demographic doesn't really use it, but I just never had a need.
Yeah, that's fair. So with all the content that you produce, what do you hope people take away from your content?
That I'm a web professional, that's what I do. Aside from like all the travel stuff, like I use the travel stuff because I like to resonate with people, I like to give them something to look at. But, in the end, I want people to know what I do. And if anybody needs web services of any type, that, they can refer them to me. I'm a relationship type of guy, so I build relationship with my clients, and everyone gets treated super well. So I just want people to know what I do.
That's fair. So what's next? Like, what do you got coming up with you personally?
Yeah. So Well, I'm going to Costa Rica again
Right.
At the end of February. So that should be pretty fun. But from a business point of view, I mean, I'm growing my company. We're looking at new offices. We are working with another company that writes grants, so we can get government funding for a lot of website and marketing services, particularly in the not-for-profit and Indigenous-owned company space. There's a lot of money out there from the Liberal government. So, just growing, working hard, trying to get new clients, and refining my business, I guess.
Yeah. One thing I meant to ask too was when you said grants, it kind of sparked it. Did you ever do anything with investors? Like, did you get people to invest in the company?
Yeah. So not into LeapUX, but I did we had some investment in Flipped for a bit. Yeah.
So how do you go about acquiring investment? Like, is it just, again, networking, or is there a certain place you found it?
So no, typically, if you become successful, if you become successful and you network with the right people, they'll come to you. But if you need money, you better have a heck of a good business plan, because there's a lot of people that need money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so
fair.
have a good business plan and reach out to them. Google it. Google investors. There's groups of them.
Yeah.
And set up an appointment and go in and pitch what you got. And what's cool is typically a lot of these big investment firms will actually put what do you call them? Almost like, I forget what the term is, but they assign someone to you to help you refine your business plan to get the investment money. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know we talked about potentially like working towards working remotely and stuff, but what are some big goals that you're striving for?
We want to triple our revenue next year. So that's huge. I want to basically, we're looking at getting more recurring income coming in. So, monthly retainers on marketing dollars, so that we can, just have our small bucket of clients and don't have to always be searching for new ones. And just make them money as well, because that's what we do. We really make people money, right? We're in the marketing business. And then, stay healthy, stay fit, and hopefully at some point in my life I could, step away from a management position, I guess, within my organization, and just support the company or the organization anywhere I am.
Yeah. It's awesome. So before we wrap up, you got time for a quick Q&A?
Yeah.
So these are just kind of like random off the wall questions that don't really fit into the regular part of the episode. So first question is, what's a show you're binging on Netflix or Hulu, Amazon Prime, wherever?
Yeah, Daredevil.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Amazing.
Are you on season
2 right now.
Season 2?
Yeah.
I think whenever I think of like cinematography, one of the shots that stand out to me is the first season. I think it was like the first or second episode. It's that hallway scene.
Oh my God.
Where he's just like going in and out of the rooms, and
Crazy.
it's like one take. It's so well done.
Yeah. The show is actually ridiculously well done.
Yeah. Next question is your favorite app that's not Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter.
Oh, my favorite app that's not Evernote.
Evernote.
Yeah.
Really? What is that?
Evernote is a note-taking app that you can also add other people to your notes. So it's my brainstorming app. Pretty much every meeting, Evernote, and then whoever's part of that group of notes gets to see my notes live, and they can also contribute to it as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Who are some people you follow on Instagram that you'd recommend other people follow?
Man, who do I follow on Instagram that really resonate with me? A lot of local Ottawa businesses. So, yeah. It's so funny because, believe it or not, I don't really use social media for that purpose. A couple Instagrams that I really like, Citizen of Town. They're a local Ottawa business. I don't even know the owners, but I just really like what they do. Bloomin' Studio. I like her Instagram as well. Follow her. My company Instagram, LeapUX. Flipped.ca. Yeah, I don't really follow. I follow people, but I don't really look at it like an entertainment source. I use it more of a marketing tool.
Yeah. That's fair. Do you watch YouTube at all?
Yeah, here and there. Yeah.
Are there any people you consistently watch that you'd recommend?
You know what I use YouTube for? I use YouTube to help me through my video games.
Really?
So I'll literally just Google it and be like, how do I get through? So we were playing Spider-Man recently. So like, how do I get through something, or just looking at how other people do it, kind of thing.
Yeah, Spider-Man, I think, is a PlayStation exclusive, so you have a PS4.
Yeah, PS4 game. Yeah, I'm a PS4 player. Yeah.
You have any favorite video games?
Diablo.
Really?
Yeah, so I used to play when I was a kid, and we just totally destroyed it and like beat it in like a month or less. It's a 4-player local play, right? So yeah,
that's awesome. Next question would be music that you're listening to right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm old school. So I listen to a lot of rap and hip hop and a lot of like alternative rock. So I listen to a lot of like Thrice. I don't know if you
I don't know if I've heard
remember
of
these guys. They're pretty awesome, sort of like hard rock band. Yeah, I listen to like Royce the 5'9", a lot of these old school rappers. Pusha T, he has a new album that just came out. Yeah, I listen to like Matchbox 20, that kind of type of stuff. Yeah, variety.
Yeah.
I use Amazon Music app.
Okay.
So that'd probably be my second favorite app would be Amazon suite of apps. Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm a Prime customer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you listen to any podcasts at all?
Yeah, I do. I listen to a lot of CPC radio.
Okay.
A lot of CPC radio. It's like what I tune to typically. But this is or this week in startup or something like that.
I think I've heard of that one.
Yeah, I listen to that, and yeah, whatever comes on.
Yeah. Are there any books that you'd recommend?
$1 Million Consultant.
Okay, I've never heard of that book.
It's I recommend it to any entrepreneur or someone that wants to like step away from the typical like employee role, want to start working on their own, whether as a consultant or even like as a business owner. $1 Million Consultant. It really like talks about branding yourself and all the steps that you should be taking and how to value your time and pricing out your services and stuff like that. Yeah,
that's fair. Are there any restaurants in Ottawa you recommend, like that hidden gem?
I went to Mati last night.
Oh, dude, that's so good.
Yeah,
there
at the Seafood Tower. Other than that, there's this new lobster pho place that opened up in Chinatown, I think, area. Lobster pho. So pho is Vietnamese soup.
Okay.
My girlfriend, she's Vietnamese, and they don't typically do a lobster pho, so they have this new lobster pho place. So that's pretty cool. Other than that, Anatai. Anatai is it's on. It's near Westboro or Hintonburg. It's a friend of mine's restaurant, so go check it out. Pho Van Van. It's another pho restaurant, friend of mine's restaurant. Yeah,
that's awesome. Do you have any consistent morning and night routines that you follow?
No. Nothing. My days are crazy. I live by my Outlook calendar. So tonight my night's gonna probably end at 10 o'clock.
Wow.
And then tomorrow night maybe have a beer after work. Yeah, but no really routine.
Yeah.
I just get up every day at about 7:30. That's about it.
It's not too bad.
Yeah.
So this question I stole from Gary Vaynerchuk. He asks in one of his podcasts, it's what are you obsessed with? But it's not from like a high level, like I'm obsessed with getting my clients a higher return on their investment, but it's something like I bought this brand new cardigan and it's so comfy. I'm just obsessed with my cardigan.
Yeah. What am I obsessed with? Can it be food?
Absolutely.
Oh man. So if you ever find a Philippine bakery, there's these like coconut buns with like this toasted coconut filling. You buy them, they come in like usually like a bag of 3 or whatever. Throw that in the microwave for about 15-20 seconds. And then like it's like the most amazing like dessert. It's like almost like a bread on the outside, but like this toasted coconut sweetness on the inside. So it gives you that perfect balance. Been eating a lot of those lately.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. What are 3 things on your bucket list?
3 things on my bucket list.
Yeah.
I want to go to the Galapagos Islands.
Okay.
It's the place that I've been wanting to travel the most. Just haven't had an opportunity to go there. Man, I've done a lot of things, man. I've been lucky. I would like to learn how to play guitar better.
Okay.
I know how to play a little bit of guitar, but if I had actually some downtime, I would like to really learn how to play guitar, and I would like to learn another language. So I'm French Canadian. I speak English as well, obviously.
Yeah.
And but I would love to learn a third language.
Is there a language you're kind of like leaning towards potentially?
You know, Vietnamese would be cool because of my girl, but Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I speak like vacation Spanish right now, like cerveza por favor kind of Spanish.
Yeah. From what I heard too, like it's an easy transition from French to Spanish.
Yeah.
That's what I've been told.
Yeah.
So that's fair. So if you're going to dinner and you can take 3 people with you. They can be anybody. They can be dead or alive. Who would you take to dinner?
Oh man, who would I take to dinner? Dead or alive, eh?
They can be anybody from any point in time.
Yeah, so I got 2 alive. So definitely I would take my business partner, Mark, and my other business partner, Jay, and Johnny Cash.
Yeah?
I don't know. I like this guy. I listen to a lot of his music. I think he's like the epitome of a rock star to me. You know, started off like good boy and then turned out to be badass.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. What's the best advice you've ever gotten? And if you can remember, from who?
Oh, yeah. The best advice I've ever gotten. I have a good one. I was in Mexico, and I'm sitting in this hot tub, and beside the hot tub, there's this pool, and there's this like 70-year-old dude with these like 2 young babes. And I'm just like, oh, so weird. And like, you know, I'm not like that, but I was just, you know, he intrigued me in a sense, right? Anyways, the girls left and he came into the hot tub with me, and then we started chatting up, and I said, you know, do you mind if I ask you a question? I'm like, well, like, what's with the girls? And he goes, oh, you know, when, he said, when my wife doesn't travel with me, I have my girlfriends that travel with me. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, what do you do? And he's like, oh, well, you know, I don't do anything. I haven't worked in like, he's like in his 70s. Like, I haven't worked in like 30 years, whatever. I was one of the first voice over IP business owners, and I sold my company for like multi-million dollars. And I said, okay. And I'm like, interesting. And I'm like, and I asked him, I'm like, can you give me some advice? Like, you know, I want to be a successful entrepreneur, not necessarily to be swimming in a pool with 2 babes or whatever. But I said, can you give me some advice? And he's like, yeah. He's like, for the next 20 years, work 7 days a week, 20-hour days. And I guarantee you're going to be a multimillionaire. And I'm like, okay, like, how do you figure? And he said, well, think about it. If your competition is working 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, and you're working those extra hours more days a week, you're both going to be making the exact same mistakes and overcoming the exact same challenges, but you're going to have way more years ahead of them from figuring it out. And you'll be ahead of the curve, and guarantee. He said, however, maybe you won't have a good relationship with your wife and kids and all that stuff, sort of like him. Yeah. So what I took from that is, it's like not necessarily living that lifestyle, like giving your family and friends the time they deserve, but like grinding, put in some work, and then you'll be successful, especially if the competition is not working as hard as you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What's something about you that people wouldn't expect?
Something about me that people wouldn't expect. I don't know. I'm pretty artistic, so I like to paint. I have a good eye for like interior decorating, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I would say I'm pretty artistic. I come across as like very like financial focused business guy, but yeah, I consider myself pretty creative.
Mm-hmm. What's a question that you would want to know the answer to that you don't know? I don't know if that question makes sense. It's a new one I'm trying out.
Yeah,
but.
What's an answer to a question that I don't know, but I would really want to know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who killed Tupac?
Okay. I like that question. Yeah. I remember being like at high school, I would just lose myself for hours in YouTube videos about conspiracies about Tupac. And
Still going on.
Oh yeah. And like,
yeah, now Suge Knight's son is saying that he's still alive in like Cuba or Malaysia or something.
Yeah. And that's like the same thing with Eazy-E too, right?
Yeah.
Like, have you heard the whole thing with him, with Suge Knight injecting
HIV into
like
the guy,
and like blood with HIV in it into
What?
like, have you ever watched the NWA movie?
Yeah.
You know the scene where Eazy gets like jumped in the studio by like Suge Knight's guys?
Okay, yeah.
He gets AIDS like right after that scene, and from my understanding, like this could also be conspiracy theories, but they're alluding to it. And after Eazy-E died, I think it was right after he died, Ice Cube's next album was called Lethal Injection. So that was like that whole conspiracy that Suge Knight was involved with Eazy as well. It was a whole, I used to be like super.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just blew my mind right there.
And then there's an interview he did, I think on like Suge Knight did on Fallon, where he jokes about you can buy blood with HIV in it to like inject into you. Like it's like in 2002 or 2003. Like
what?
It was crazy.
Okay, I can't. The conspiracy, they just blow my mind.
I know it's yeah. Sorry, I get off track here, but like I just like used to get hours into those things, man.
Whoa,
but
that's crazy. Yeah. There's a few of them. Like I used to like conspiracy theories. I used to like follow them a lot, like the Illuminati stuff. But I try to stay away from them. Yeah, I can get too involved.
Yeah, that's fair. So the very last question is, what's one thing that you think everybody should know?
That's one thing. Like everyone in the world should know.
Yeah.
Or
like,
at least in Canada.
Yeah,
or
like
whatever.
something that's super important to you that you think everyone else should know too.
How to manage money, accounting, fundamentals. We learned so much crap in public schools growing up, but they never really teach you how to manage money. They never teach you about credit cards and all that stuff and debt and how to like invest and stuff like that. I think, at least in grade like 9 or whenever high school starts, learn how to invest, learn how to use the stock markets, TFSAs, that kind of stuff. I think financial education in this country is garbage. It's almost like they set us up for debt and failure. So I think everybody should understand like the fundamentals of accounting.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you for being on the podcast, and I want to give you the floor. Where do you want the people to go? Where can they find you?
Yeah.
Plug everything you got, man.
Absolutely. I mean, you can check me out online. It's at Hey This Is Nick. My website is heythisisnick.com. And otherwise, leapux.com, Flipped.ca, live trade. Check it out. Google me. It's pretty easy. Hey, this is Nick. So if you need any web services, digital marketing services, or if you know anybody, even to finance those, to get grants for stuff, just hit me up.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Make sure you go follow Nick on Instagram and check out his website. And again, if you need web services, digital marketing, hit him up, guys. I'll make sure everything's linked in the show notes down below. And one other thing, if you know who killed Tupac, let us know. Thank you once again for listening, everybody. We'll talk soon. Thank you once again for listening to this episode of My Social Life. As always, whether you've listened the entire way through or you've only listened to bits and pieces, I really appreciate you taking the time to check this episode out. Please do me a favor and go follow Nick on Instagram. Again, he's at Hey This Is Nick. Nick is Nick. So make sure you follow him there. And if you wish to hire Nick for any, whether it be web design, web consulting, any of the services that Nick offers, Nick and LeapUX offer, you can find Nick at heythisisnick.com or at leapux.com. And guys, also be sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I am at the Jacob Kelly on both social media platforms. And if you have any questions, feel free to DM me, feel free to tweet at me. I also do daily vlogs on my Instagram story where I kind of give a behind the scenes to the podcast. So be sure to check those out. And if you want to follow the podcast, I post clips with video from these. So if you want to see our beautiful faces, you can at My Social Pod. And make sure you screenshot this episode and tag My Social Pod in your Instagram story. And I will share it to our story and I'll send you guys a message. And please, if you have the time, leave us a rating and a review. The more ratings and reviews we get, the more people that will find this podcast. It helps way more than you know. Thank you once again for listening, everybody. We'll talk soon.